What is up, everybody? It has been multiple years. It has been over 6 months since we have gone live together on YouTube. The last video that I think we did on here was 6 months ago, and it was me and Chris, and now it's me and Dylan. And it's been 6 months, and I don't think this would have happened today if Dylan didn't text me asking, let's do this.
Yeah.
So we are live here talking about the NFL draft. Yo, what's good? What up, JT? Thanks for stopping in. Nate, thanks for stopping in. We're going to be talking about the NFL draft. We're doing a live mock draft, talking about some teams and some players and some positional needs and every single fucking thing you can think about. So I'll let Dylan go first, since you guys haven't seen Dylan around in forever. He's been hiding in a sculptural of women, or a woman, my bad, just a woman. So Dylan, how have you been?
I'm fine. I didn't need the whole screen. So today we're gonna do a mock draft on PFF, because they're the only board I really like. I feel like it actually goes nice. We're also gonna do some positional rankings. We'll do that after that. So we'll go through some most important. We may not do every position, but a majority. Some sleeper picks. I know I have a few. I don't know if Nico does, but some guys that are maybe third, maybe even second round picks that no one's really talking about back into the second. And then I have some players I would stay away from as well, whether it's off the field issues, whether it's play I just don't like, stuff like that. So, okay. So we got three people. Anything you want to add before we start the mock draft, Nico?
Yeah, this is going to be our opinions. You're going to actually hear my side of what I think is going to happen, and you're not going to get a assumption that's that people want to make, that I think that Will Levis is a top 3 pick, which I don't think at all whatsoever. So just really remember that as we go through this, and I hope I don't get hurt. My feelings hurt too bad.
Actually, I want to answer this question real quick. Okay, so rumors are saying Carolina wants Bryce Young and is out on CJ Stroud. Could this be a smokescreen to extort the Texans? I'm guessing you mean for the Texans to move up to 1. Yes and no. So I do think they really want Bryce. I'm not that high on Bryce himself, and I guess I'll probably do that with the position ranking. So it'll be a few minutes. I have heard Bryce is their favorite quarterback. You see this happen a lot come draft time, where players who were mocked to be number 1 or 2 weeks before draft are going to be like number 3 on other boards. It's people everyone's really curious. This is a really weird draft. It's really up in the air. People get really bored, and they want to put players. They want to put players in places that they may not be. So Bryce is supposed to be their quarterback 1, but he could actually be their quarterback 4. We don't know. My knock on Bryce is his size. Nico, go ahead and answer the question about the answers real quick.
So I feel like the only reason why, and I think this is kind of just what's really kind of upsetting me, is that a lot of teams are really taking the test that that both CJ Stroud and Bryce Young took, and obviously the scores were very, very significant towards one another. Obviously, Bryce Young scoring one of the highest that's ever been, and then you have CJ Stroud scoring an all-time low. I don't think it's a true knock. I feel like that really doesn't set away from their skills and how they're able to play and whatnot. We saw this year that CJ Stroud once again elevated his game from last year, and then Bryce Young kind of being taken to a little bit of a halt. Now, again, do I think that these Wonderling tests and all that really determine whether or not a quarterback is going to be good in the NFL? Yes and no. I feel like it kind of just really depends. But I wouldn't really knock it off too much off of my fault. I wouldn't. Ew, why is it like this? Oh, okay.
Ew.
I wouldn't knock it off too much off of CJ Stroud for really getting a bad score on the test, but that's just my opinion on it.
So there's something I want to comment on that. So the guy who does all the S2 testing, so the S2, well, the Wonderlic and S2 are different. So I'll get to that in a second. So the guy who made, so the S2 is kind of a newer concept. It hasn't really been talked about. Even last year, you're hearing people say, "Oh, Brock Purdy scored the highest." We didn't hear this last year. We didn't hear Malik Willis or Fritter's S2 test. That was still a thing last year, but for some reason it shot up to where people really care about it now. Not sure why. It's still a good test. It's a good gauge. It's not the only gauge you should be using. As well, the guy who does all the S2 testing came out and said 2 of the guys who scored very poorly out of the top guys had significantly better scores than that were leaked. So it's not going to be Bryce, because you couldn't have really a better score than him. So really it's either Shroud, Hendon, or A.
Oh.
Levis had a 93%, so it couldn't be significantly higher. So the whole Shroud got an 18% has already been proven false.
Yeah.
So what the guy did say is one of the guys of the top guys who got a bad score came in at like 11 p.m. night after a ton of interviews and was just agitated and just wanted to get it over with. Now, whether that's Shroud, whether that's Hendon, I don't know, but it's one of those guys. And so he said all the top guys scored extremely well. So this stock, some people are taking the Shroud's 18% should be kind of wavered down a little bit, in my opinion. Could Hendon Hooker go in the first round? He could. Should he? Hell no. No. As a Tennessee fan, no.
I know the team behind me is very high on Hendon Hooker.
You're assuming they're high on Hendon Hooker.
I hope they're not.
So there's a stat actually I want to pull up because I think this is kind of a misconception of Hendon Hooker. Jake Haener. I haven't done anything on Jake Haener. So he's a quarterback.
Oh.
So I want to bring up something with Hendon Hooker real quick because I think it's very interesting. And I didn't even know this stat. It's a really cool stat that PFF has. Hendon Hooker. Let me pop it up for you.
Why do I like that Fit Hooker? Oh my God, Fit Hooker on the
Only 5 completions. Hendon Hooker had 5 completions last year when was moved off of his drop back spot. When he was moved off of where he dropped back to, he had 5 completions the whole 2022 college season. Y'all understand how bad that is? When the Colts shut up 2 for levers, go Bears.
It's my boss. Just letting you know.
Okay. I hope not. That's what I'm gonna say. I hope not.
Well, Coach, I don't think that I'll just go on this one. I don't really know how aggressive the Colts are going to be in this draft. The Colts have been a team that's been really up in the air on what they're going to do. They've been tossing the name that they don't want to draft a quarterback. They've now tossed the name that they do. They've been tossing it around. I don't think now trading 2 spots because I think the Texans are now saying they don't even want to go for quarterback at this point.
It's rumored.
Yeah, it's rumored that Texans don't want to go quarterback. I don't see the Colts having to move up because I feel like the Texans would probably give them the bargain of a lifetime. And I feel like the Colts would end up losing the trade in the future. But that's just my personal opinion. Now, I think the Colts are going to probably go, and I'm just being honest, I think they're going to go Will Levis because it's a Colts thing to do. And I think Jim Irsay is going to want to go with Will Levis. Now, I could be wrong, but that's just kind of the hot rumor right now that Will Levis could be a Colt. Other rumors are saying he'll be a Carolina Panther. So I don't know where these guys are going to end up going at this point.
I think Will Levis will be a Colt. I'll answer that in just a second. So, well, actually, I have a few to answer. There's a few things. So Will Levis, I'm actually really kind of getting higher on as the draft becomes closer. He reminds me a little bit of Justin Herbert. And the reason I say that's a big comp. And I know people don't love hearing Justin Herbert comps. I know people don't like Will Levis. And I didn't at first. My concern with Levis is his 2022 film was extremely poor. He just didn't look good. But if you go back to 2021, which is very similar with what happened with Herbert, where the year he came out, his film was bad. The year before was really good. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, so I kind of like Levis a little bit. Not top 2, but like even I'll get to in a minute. If Levis is at 11, I would be on board for it. Hendon couldn't move in the pocket. For how mobile he actually is, it's really odd. He could be coached to there, but it's still a major issue. Seems like every time I see Hendon Hooker, he literally just takes a snap, stands there, and is there 0 drop back? Yes, that's exact. What would it take for the Commies to trade up to 3? More than I think the Commanders would want to give up.
Yeah, from 16 to 3, that's probably almost damn near.
So, for example, when San Fran was at 12, I think, and they moved up to 3 to get Lance. They gave up 3 firsts and a third. So to think 4 spots back in a draft where there's probably a quarterback they want, I think kind of similar. So I'm guessing probably 4 first, a second, and a third is what I would assume. Maybe more though.
They're more. I think what they want to do is move back, and they want to get capital for next year.
See. I have a thing with this. So I am very, very adamant on 2 things. Numero uno, if you love a quarterback, do not shy away from going up to get him. If you're the Commanders and you say, we think Will Levis is a franchise guy, then you give up 4 first-round picks to go get him.
Oh God,
I'm
no.
sorry, and I'm not saying that you should. I'm saying if Ron Rivera watches Will Levis and he says this is the best quarterback I've ever evaluated, he doesn't. But see what I'm saying? Then I think it's worth that trade up because I think
Right.
the return from getting a quarterback like that is higher than the gain that you give up to get him. But
I don't get how him to Herbert, but I'm getting higher on. With Will Levis, I can't believe that this is we're even talking about this guy. He obviously he'll be a first round pick. Now, depending on where he goes, God knows where. He will be a first round pick. Not to where, it'll be Tampa, Indianapolis, wherever. When I watch the film of Will Levis, sometimes I see some flashes and sometimes I don't see some flashes.
Don't hate it.
I don't see the it factor. He's just very good. I wouldn't put him as a top 5 pick, but he'll go top 5 because of the Giants when they drafted Daniel Jones had to trade back to 10, but they weren't offering enough, so they just took Danny at 6. They would have been better off taking Danny in the 6th round, and they probably would have got more value out of that.
But the other thing I was going to get to is I also don't like the idea of we'll just wait for next year for a quarterback because what happens every single year is Caleb Williams is going to be torn to pieces in the draft analysis next year. Just like CJ Stroud, just like Bryce Young. People are going to come up with issues with them. If Caleb Williams makes it through that draft analysis without getting torn apart, then he is for sure number 1, and no guy at number 1, no team at number 1 is going to trade off for him. No team's going to trade out away. If they think, oh, what up? So I'm saying if he goes to the draft analysis and there's no fault between them, which is what some NFL fans think, there's no fault in Caleb Williams' game. If he makes it through there, the team that took 1 would 8 first-round picks, not taking it. If they think he's that good. That's why I strongly dislike. Titans fans say the same thing. Oh, tank for Caleb Williams. No. No.
He's already a Commander locked in. So let's get this mock draft started, shall we? Should we turn on the PFF and go to it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's do it. So yeah, I don't know. I've seen after the Commanders. I mean, can I say that the Commanders got sold? Yeah, I could say that now, right? Like they got sold, right?
Yes.
Like they got sold. I could say this now. I think that if the Commanders really wanted Caleb Williams next year, I think they'll go and get him. I'd love it so very much if they had him. It would make me so happy.
Alrighty, so we're gonna do all teams, and you can go and keep talking. I'll just let you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I think Caleb Williams would just be the greatest thing. I'd give up my fucking life savings to have Caleb Williams on the fucking Commanders. I don't give a shit. I don't care if he has mayonnaise in his fucking coffee like the other idiot. I'll take Caleb Williams. But with the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers are officially on the clock. Now, I feel like me and you, for the first time, will probably disagree for the top 3. Our top 3 might be different from other times and through the years that we've done this. Number 1, I hope Caleb does not go to the commies. Okay. Number 1 pick. Do you want to go on 3 and just say who we think and go off?
No, we're gonna have the same projection because I'm gonna do what I think is gonna happen, not who I would pick.
Okay, so we're gonna go off of what we think is gonna happen, not who we would want to see.
Correct, Tamundo.
Okay, so all right, with number 1 pick, then I think the Carolina Panthers are gonna select Bryce Young.
I agree. Should they? No. But will they? Yes.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go Bryce Young at 1.
No explanation.
Now again.
I thought you almost clicked on Jalen Carter. I was like, oh shit.
I almost did. So again, when we get to positional rankings, I'll talk about me with Bryce Young. Because I'm a lot lower on him than some people are. But
all right.
Number 2.
This
is when the draft really starts, in my opinion.
It's the 2nd pick, right? Not the fucking 1st overall pick, just the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I think Bryce is locked. So again, who I would pick here would be either Jalen Carter or CJ Stroud. Now, Jalen Carter is by far the best player in this class. He just has off-the-field issues, which are bad. Like, off-the-field issues are serious, obviously. I'm not going to Bryce Young hater. Shut up, Chris.
I can still hear you. Continue.
But I think they take Will Anderson.
Now,
I don't love Will Anderson, but I think that's what they take.
Now, I would say that because dude, the problem it's like now the problem is this is that CJ Stroud was mocked up so highly and all of this, and now they shit the brick. He shit the brick on the test, and now he shits the brick as a player, and now he's not going to be a top 2 quarterback, which is absolutely ridiculous. If the Texans are even smarter than anything, they'll go CJ, but I gotta go with you. I think they're gonna go Will Anderson.
Yeah, I don't love that pick, but it's fine. So Cardinals at 3. Now this is a big trade back spot.
I think they're gonna trade back.
I think they will. Now, who is the good question?
I have 3 teams in my mind who I could see doing it.
So I think it goes Detroit. It goes.
Really?
I don't think Atlanta. I don't think Vegas. I think their need at Vegas's need on the offensive line or corner is too big, and you're going to get a premier either one of those at that pick at 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go Detroit. I think this would be a great time to get a quarterback. I think a team like Tennessee obviously could move up. Teams back here could. I just don't see it. So I would say I don't think Denver moves up, or you could see Indy jump one spot purely to secure their guy.
I think so. The 3 teams, in my opinion, are probably, in my opinion, will be the Titans. I could see Atlanta doing it if they really wanted to get a quarterback, and they don't get Lamar, and they are not happy with Ritter. I say Atlanta could. I could also see LA doing it too. They signed Jimmy G to kind of like a bridge quarterback kind of contract where you're not giving him too much money, but you're giving him a good amount to see what he can do. I would say this is LA. Not LA. This is Vegas' spot. I think that if anyone trades up, it's going to be Vegas. I could see them doing it. They've hit and missed on so many years. This could be the one year where they trade up, get the quarterback they need, and replace Derek Carr.
So I'm not going to do a trade because we can't project trades, but I will say, because I'm still going to let Arizona take this pick, and I'm not going to trade because we don't know what it would be.
Right.
What I will say is in the Vegas trading, I don't like it. And I'm not saying that they won't. I'm saying that if you're Vegas, you have so many holes in that roster, specifically offensive tackle, specifically secondary has been bad for years. At 7, you're either getting Skoronski, Paris Johnson, Christian Gonzalez, or Devin Witherspoon. I think are 4 guaranteed starters day 1.
Right.
So it's why if you have that need, if you draft a quarterback like CJ Stroud, he's still behind a bad roster, and now you have $27 million wrapped up in Jimmy Garoppolo for this young cap hit. I just don't like it.
So for Cardinals, what are we thinking? So, I mean, their biggest need obviously is anything on the offensive line, but anything on the offensive line right now would kind of be a reach a little bit. I mean, if you want to say Skoronski, but you're picking about 5 spots ahead of to where he would be projected to go.
But I don't think it's a bad pick for Skoronski at a 3 because they need guard so bad, and I really do think Skoronski is going to translate as a guard.
I was going to say they take the best player off the board and they'll go get Jalen Carter after legit not having anything on the interior defensive line. I don't know who their D-line is.
Now, in all reality, I really do think they trade this pick. But
same.
I'm trying not to trade because it's going to be hard to predict that.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to say screw it and trade because if you're Arizona, I don't like anybody here. Not at 3. So I'm going to trade. I said I wasn't going to, but I can't. I don't like picking like Jalen Carter for the Cardinals. So I said Detroit. Detroit has a really interesting package because they could. I don't think it's. You can't give 6 and 18 for 3. It's just no. Not if you're Detroit. It doesn't make sense.
I say I say 6. Maybe 81 or 55, and then maybe throw in like a 7th round pick and call it a day.
Let's look at Tennessee real quick, and not even biased, but I think it's really likely they try to trade up. So the issue with Tennessee is they don't have that many picks, so you pretty much have to do like round 11, round 1, and then like 147 for 3. Tennessee doesn't want to trade for the 11. Okay, never mind. Vegas is at 7, would like to trade. I don't know why Philly would want to trade for 3. Maybe Jalen Carter, but it doesn't make sense either.
Philly probably doesn't even have that.
We'll go to Detroit. I'll do 6 and 48 to 3.
Okay. I would say do 655 and then maybe a 7th round pick.
I think you throw in 396 for 6 and 48. Moving back 3. I'll do 96 and 105. So that's what I'll offer.
All right.
I think that's pretty fair. So now you're Detroit, and I think now you take a quarterback. Here's where it gets weird, because you already have a quarterback in Jared Goff that, in my opinion, is a pretty high floor, low ceiling. CJ Stroud's ceiling just isn't there. And I like CJ Stroud. He's my quarterback 1. It's just not there. Could we talk about Will Levis in 3?
But do you really think that they need to go quarterback?
If you jump Indy, why are you doing that? If you jump Indy, you're taking a quarterback number 1. And you probably like one of them more. Now, I'm not saying they're going to take Levis, but I think it's there. Now, I think if they were here, they'd probably take Stroud, which is who I think I'll give them. But that's just what I'm saying. I think you could think about Levis, but I'll give him Stroud. What do you think?
I still don't see it. I still think CJ Stroud is a Las Vegas Raider. I think I've been saying that since before the Bryce.
So I'm gonna take Stroud. I don't think he'll last to Vegas. I just don't think Stroud reasonably lasts to 6. Indy.
Will Levis. It's
Levis.
Such a. Now this is my favorite right here, because as I think we all think that they're going to go interior offensive line. I think that's what everyone thinks, but I think
who's everyone?
I don't know. Shut up! Don't use this against me. So. Honest to God, been seeing it everywhere. Anthony Richardson to Seattle has been the hot topic, which I don't know why. They've been paying Geno Smith. They paid Geno Smith, 3 years, 105. I mean, that's basically saying, hey, we're trusting you with the keys to the franchise. And I've seen a lot of people saying that Anthony Richardson's going to be a Seattle Seahawk. I don't fully agree. But I think it's so stupid. Jalen Carter. Okay, fuck me, I guess.
So
fuck what I look at.
Let me explain real quick. So
you've been seeing the same thing. Please don't tell me that I'm like being delusional with what I'm saying. You've seen the Anthony Richardson to Seattle shit too.
I have.
Okay.
My thing with Seattle specifically is I think even the offense you have now can pretty much score on anybody. That offense is just loaded, and I don't think Geno's a bad quarterback. That offense is just seriously loaded. And you were the 30th ranked run defense in the NFL last year. Jalen Carter immediately brings you at least 5 spots over that. Like, he's that good of a player if he can stay on the field.
Ooh, yeah.
And then I think they have another pick at 20. I'll address defense again on that pick. I just don't think you really need to add offense this pick. Arizona's now at 6. Who do you pick? I think Skoronski makes so much sense here.
Either Skoronski or you can say Devon Witherspoon is one that would be a great one too.
Yeah, I'm in Witherspoon. Yeah.
They really do not have any corner at all.
They lost Byron Murphy, I think, in free agency. So yeah, they really need a corner.
Las Vegas Raiders, Peter Skoronski has already looked like he's a Raider. Put him on.
Yep.
Falcons.
Weird pick.
No. Don't put Jackson Smith-Njigba on the fucking Falcons.
I like Nolan Smith to Atlanta.
Don't you think that's a bit of a reach?
No. I'm pretty high on Nolan Smith. And I don't like PFF mocks because they have PJJ as the 16th best player in the draft. Nolan Smith is an athletic freak who reminds me a lot of Hassan Reddick. He's been comped to Hassan Reddick a ton as well. That's not just my opinion.
Right.
And they've had to they've drafted edge year after year after year after year, and they've never got a consistent pass rush. Your offense, I don't think you take a quarterback 1 year after taking Ritter. So I'm going to go Nolan Smith here. Who would you take, Nico?
I'd probably have to go Nolan Smith too. I was going to say corner, but then I know they picked up Okudah a couple weeks ago. But
yeah, I don't think you could spin. I mean, if you draft Christian Gonzalez, you have a good corner deal for the next 12 years. I just don't think you have the capital to do that.
Yeah.
This is Paris Johnson Jr. to Chicago. I don't see another pick here if he's here. So I'm going Paris Johnson.
Agreed.
Philly. This is a weird pick. Anthony Richardson. I'm joking. You could go corner, but didn't they get both corners back too?
They got Bradbury and they got Slay back.
Brian Branch makes a ton of sense here, in my opinion, because he's so versatile that he will fit that CJ Gardner-Johnson role perfectly. He's probably going to go here. Bijan, I've seen mocked a lot here. He even publicly came out and said that's the quarterback who wants to play with the most of Jalen Hurts. You're not going number 10. You're running back. I'm sorry to break it to you. JSN would be interesting. I think the hamstring injuries is going to ward some people off. but JSN at 10 would be interesting with AJ on the outside, Devontae on the outside, JSN on the inside. That's unstoppable basically. But what's up, Awesomeness? So I am going to pick Brian Branch, but who would you pick here?
Yeah, Brian Branch seems like the perfect pick here for Philly. I mean, Bijan, you could say Bijan, but like you said, he's not going to be a top 10 pick as a running back.
So Tennessee.
I'm gonna just mute myself.
Oh, I mean, I don't care. Okay, so Tennessee at 11. Now, AR's here. Offensive line, Osiris Torrance is a huge reach. Tackle, there's nobody. I don't like Broderick. Not enough for 11. JSN, I've seen mocked a lot. Vrabel has publicly came out and said he's done with hamstring injuries. He's very frustrated with soft tissue injuries. He's not going to draft a player who just missed a whole college season for a tissue injury. So I'm going to AR here. It seems like our report came out a few days ago. Tannehill's available for trade. I think he will be traded during the draft if they draft AR at 11. I think AR's floor is a lot higher than people want to admit. I've said this openly. He's my quarterback 2 now. I do have him over Bryce. I'll get to that in a minute. What else with him? I do think Tannehill will be traded, whether it's for a third, whether it's for a fourth, I don't know. Also, it came out that the Titans do not view Malik Willis as a future starter in the 2023. So basically, you're saying both your quarterbacks are up for a move, which I think shows you're going to take a quarterback. And AR fell right in your lap, and he is going to be very good in the NFL.
Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Houston. Now, Houston probably wished AR fell here. But we're going Jason. Green Bay Packers. I like Dalton Kincaid a lot here. I feel like it's an early bit for a tight end, but Dalton Kincaid immediately makes their pass catching significantly better.
I was going to say Lucas Van Ness would be such a Green Bay Packer pick right here.
I don't think they need edge with Rashawn Gary there, though.
Yeah, I know, but dude, think about it for a second, man. It's the Green Bay Packers in the round 1 of the NFL draft. Be realistic. Do you, honest to God, think that they're going to draft an offensive needed position?
No, but I do think here that instead of, I think Kalijah Kancey makes a lot of sense here. He's a bit smaller. He's athletic profile-wise, Aaron Donald, and he came from the same college. He's been comped him a ton, which is usually a negative when you see somebody comped to the greatest defender of our era. I think Kalijah Kancey makes a lot of sense here. I'm going to have him over Kincaid, who I'm going to end up taking for Green Bay. But that's who I would. That's who I think they're going to take is Kalijah Kancey at the 13. I haven't seen him mocked here a lot, but it's who I think they.
I just got a report, by the way. Tennessee Titans have reportedly lost hope in Malik Willis.
That happened like 3 days ago.
Never mind. I'll shut the fuck up then.
So New England at 14. No quarterback here I like. Again, I don't like him to go first. So, no.
I can see him going corner.
I think Broderick Jones is such a New England Patriot. I don't know why he just gives me Patriot vibes. Could he be good? Sure. He's so raw, but he feels like a New England Patriot to me.
Right. Why not?
Who do you think?
I think corner, honestly. Knowing New England, I'd be stupid enough. I could see him drafting another tight end, even after.
That was Christian Gonzalez is slipping.
As much as they do need I could see Myles Murphy too. I could see him going with a pass rusher also. But it's really pick your poison. You could either say you want Myles Murphy or you could say you want Broderick Jones. Jets, who've just recently acquired, they're gonna go. No, they're gonna go offensive line, dude. They're not good.
Who?
Anton Harrison. I don't fucking know anybody but or Darnell Wright. Literally, you couldn't go wrong with those 2 tackles.
If Darnell Wright didn't have that reporter, I think Darnell Wright's a fine pick, and I think it's probably who I'm gonna pick. I think Dalton Kincaid makes a ton of sense here with Rodgers just getting there. But I'll probably go Darnell Wright. He's a pure right tackle. You still have Mekhi Becton. I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't love the off the field and the character issues with Darnell Wright, but I think he's a day one star.
What character? What off the field? I've never heard of off the field character.
A big report just came out about him actually about a week ago, and there's been a few reports about this. But basically, super lazy, basically extremely rude. Not he's really gifted, but I think they said he was like He's just basically super lazy. Doesn't really try.
Well, he was a projected second round pick, and now he's back up into the first round. So I mean,
because he has the most fluid tape at right tackle in the draft.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a boomer bust to an extent because if these off the field issues, if he's really lazy, he's not going to do good in the NFL.
no.
So,
All
Washington.
right. So, guys, if we remember a few years ago, we drafted Jamin Davis, and I got super pissed. I don't expect this is what I expect. My expectations for them drafting Christian Gonzalez are so fucking low because I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to be happy either if they draft Banks, Porter, or Gonzalez, and that's who I'm banking on, or offensive line.
No, go ahead, go finish. I'm not leaving Washington.
Or offensive line. I would love to just get a player who's good enough and that's good at that position. And like we know, knowing like we passed up on Olave for Jahan. Yes, it ended up kind of working out in the end. I just don't want to keep passing up on talent because what was it, Dylan? A few years ago, it was 2021. Jamin Davis was a commander, but then we missed out on who? JOK, right? And it would have been more,
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, yeah.
It would have been more relatable to pick him in the first round than it would have been to pick Jamin Davis, and then we missed out on. I don't fucking remember. I just knew that pissed me off. I just hope this team doesn't do what they do again, and they don't fuck it up, and they just reach and reach and reach.
Josh Downs is a really interesting player. So off the top of my head, my wide receiver, I think I actually have him written down to extent.
Yeah, Dylan has a notepad, guys. He's elevated. I'm gonna blow my nose.
I don't have him written down. So my number one wide receiver, I don't have him written down, but I'll go off quick. So my number one is Zay Flowers. Number two is toss up between Quentin and JSN. I'll go JSN 2. Quentin 3. I'd probably about wide receiver 6 or 7 is who I'd have Josh Downs on. I think that's fair. I do like Jonathan Mingo. I'm a big Jonathan Mingo guy. I'll get to him in a bit, but I love Jonathan Mingo.
Steelers cornerback, easy. Joey Porter.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Joey Porter.
No. So probably. So I actually got to say something about Washington. So I love Christian Gonzalez. He is my corner one. He has been my corner one. If I am Washington in Christian Gonzalez, because the issue or the positive to Washington here is from really, I mean, Houston could, but from 13 to 16, no one's taking a corner. So one of these guys are going to fall to you, and if Christian Gonzalez is at 16, dude, I am running to the podium.
I'm
Pittsburgh, Joey Porter is a boomer bust corner. I don't know why people aren't seeing this. He's super great. He's super handsy. He's super grabby. His tape was fine. I'll take Porter. I think he's really been trended. I know they really want to move up to 9 to get Carter. I don't think he's there at 9. I'll take Porter, even though I do think Deonte Banks is the significantly better prospect as a player. Detroit. So Detroit already took their quarterback at 3. Now, what do you do to help that quarterback? Draft big boy Quentin Johnson.
Okay, hear me out. What about tight end? Think about it for a second. They haven't really filled. I mean, they filled the hole with Irv Smith, right? But I mean,
Irv Smith went to the Bengals.
Oh, okay. I mean, would tight end be a decision to just automatically rule out? I mean, you got Dalton Kincaid right there. You have Michael Mayer right there.
No, and yes, because this tight end class is the best tight end class we've probably ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you have to take one at 18 because you have a lot of picks here. So I would say no. I think a wide receiver is a bit more vital. And I would not that I would go, but I think Quentin Johnson's going to 18. I think his slide stops. Now Tampa at 19. I've heard rumbles of Hendon Hooker. I don't like Hendon Hooker.
Could you see a tight end go off a year? They lost.
Yep,
Cameron
that's what I was going to go to. Dalton Kincaid. No, Michael Mayer is going ahead of Dalton Kincaid. Do I think he's a better player? No, but does he fit what Tampa wants to do more? Yes. Dalton Kincaid is basically that wide tight end. He's going to run a lot of routes, get a lot of catches, but he's not a good blocker. He's not an extension of your offensive line like Darnell Washington or Michael Mayer is. And Michael Mayer will block his tail off and is a really good pass catcher. And I think that fits more of what Tampa wants to do schematically.
Right. So Seattle,
So who do we have Seattle taking already?
they took a player.
And
by the name-
they took Carter, and I already said I was going to address corner at this pick. Who's Deontay Banks? And then you can go ahead and say your piece.
I like Banks. I like Banks a lot. I mean, I would not be upset if Banks was a Commander. I really enjoy watching that guy, watching his highlights, watching what he does. I think he's a great corner, and I would love for him to go to Washington, on my opinion. But if a guy like Dylan said, if Christian Gonzalez is there at the number one pick, and not the number one pick, but you know what I mean. If Christian Gonzalez is there at 16, he's there at 16, and you're going to take him over Banks all day, every day.
So Banks is a bit smaller, but he's so physical, and he's a bit handsy, so he could draw some penalties his rookie year. I wouldn't be shocked if he has kind of a rough rookie year, honestly. I think he will have some penalty issues. But I think if he pans out, you're getting a high level one. He's a bit smaller, but I'm pretty high on Banks.
Right. The Chargers. I love this. This is going to be fun. So, yeah, you're going to already go and click on what I wanted to talk about. Wide receivers, Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers feels like a Zay Flowers from wide receiver one. I think Zay Flowers is going to be a great NFL player.
Oh, yeah,
Zay
absolutely.
Flowers feels like he's going to be a Charger. And I am, as a team in the AFC, I am terrified to see Justin Herbert with Zay Flowers on the outside. And I don't think he's purely a slot. I know he can play outside. He's played outside.
Him, Keenan Allen, and Mike. I mean, he has I would say two players who are top tier at what they do. Keenan Allen, I mean, with route running, he can learn so much. And then with Mike Williams, jump ball, he'll learn so much. I mean, Zay Flowers can't walk into a better wide receiver room situation in the Chargers. He can't. It's amazing.
So Baltimore at 22 is a really interesting pick. I don't think you go wide receiver here, even though it's supposed to be.
They never go wide out. They'll never.
You still have Mark Andrews. Bijan Robinson would be interesting, but you still have J.K. Dobbins, so I wouldn't.
I mean, would you write off the fact of getting a running back? J.K. Dobbins has just kind of been on and off the field. I mean, his on and off the field issues have escalated in the last few years. So, I mean, not saying running back is a necessity, but I mean, I wouldn't look over. I'm surprised. Why is his stock falling so much?
So PFF has him a lot lower than some people. I think the reason, honestly, is because people, and you can look at their analysis. You'll see what they say. So the dude's huge. He's very quick. He's athletic as all hell. But he's raw. And I think if you're Baltimore, you have the time to get a generational edge rusher, which I think he could be. So I'm going to take Tyree Wilson here. I don't know how he's so low on PFF's board. I think he's almost better than
I thought we took him earlier almost. I kind of forgot about him.
2023.
Honest to God, Minnesota Vikings. And you know what? Call me stupid, call me crazy. I could see him going wide receiver just for the hell of it. I don't think they need one. I like that pick right there. Emmanuel Forbes would be a great pick. Joey Porter is a Steeler right now, right? In our eyes. Okay. Emmanuel Forbes might be your best pick here. Who else do we have on the draft board? Who's the linebacker? You could go maybe linebacker. You can go with, my God, what's the linebacker out of Iowa? Remind me.
Jack Campbell.
You could go Jack Campbell. Could not. Any defensive, interior defensive line.
I think corner is so needed in this Vikings team.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked if this is a spot where Tyreek Stevenson jumps Emmanuel Forbes. And I think Emmanuel Forbes, I think I have him as my corner 3. I do, actually. No, I have him as my corner 4. I have him over Joey Porter. I think Emmanuel Forbes is going to be a really good player. Super lengthy, really fluid athlete. Could be a really good corner in the NFL.
Absolutely.
But Tyreek Stevenson's risen a lot of draft boards. I think it's going to be Emmanuel Forbes, but I wouldn't be shocked if Tyreek Stevenson is a late first-round pick, even though he's mocked to be a bit later. So I'm going to go Emmanuel Forbes, too, though.
Yeah. Another corner I really started liking a little bit that's come to my interest, too, is DJ Turner, cornerback out of Michigan. His stock has also risen, too.
He had some rough games, but he had some really nice ones.
Yeah. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is almost one of the most for sure fire picks I think there is. If he's here, I think you run to the board and get Osiris to work.
Absolutely. I'd like him as a commander too.
Protect Trevor Lawrence.
Give him a wide receiver.
Offensive line always could be better. I think Osiris Torrance is a day one plug and play starter. I think Osiris Torrance is probably a day one, not day one. I think Osiris Torrance is probably a draft guy. You draft and get a Pro Bowler out of him. I do think he's a Pro Bowl player almost immediately in the NFL. I think he's going to be a really good player.
But why does he fall so late then? I mean, obviously we know why, but
people would rather, and this isn't nothing against teams. It's the honest truth. Teams would rather take a guy at 12 that if they because an all-pro guard or a Pro Bowl guard only does so much for your team.
Mm-hmm.
A Pro Bowl wide receiver is so much significantly more valuable than a Pro Bowl guard.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every single position other than running back is pretty much running back could arguably be more valuable. So it's important, but you focus on blind side on your offensive line, and you kind of just put in kind of plug and play on offensive line in the interior.
True.
So
give him Jordan Addison.
Football Giants. Yeah, I think it will be actually.
No.
I love John Michael. John Michael Schmitz is such a good player. I'm taking John Michael Schmitz. I hope you know this. The reason I say John Michael Schmitz is before you go all crazy. Now, Joe Tippmann's a very good player at center. So is Luke Weipler. But Joe Tippmann and John Michael Schmitz are my two guys. Now, Joe Tippmann should be there at your second-round pick. I think that John Michael Schmitz, the impact he would make immediately for the run game, assuming Saquon Barkley's back, would be so vast. And then whenever you go towards wide receiver, I know you guys need wide receiver. I think in the second round, there's so many guys that could be there, whether it is a Cedric Tillman, who's risen draft boards, whether it is a Jalen Hyatt, whether it is a Tank Dell, whether it is a Josh Downs, whether it is a whether it's Jonathan Mingo, there's Marvin Mims. There's so many mid-round talent wide receivers. You could almost double up on wide receiver if you really wanted to. If you wanted to, take a second-round pick on a wide receiver, take a third-round pick on a wide receiver, do what you want. Right. Take the best player on your board available who will help your team get back to the playoffs. It's John Michael Schmitz.
Yeah. The Dallas Cowboys.
You're not taking Bijan Robinson. I hope you know this.
No. So, for Dallas, I would say probably focusing on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that may be a linebacker, interior D-line, corner, whatever. Can you go to the interior defensive lineman, please? Now, don't tell me that Brian fucking Brees does not look like a fucking cowboy.
Brian Brees could be a cowboy. He's going to play a little bit more interior than he is in the edge. He's kind of that 3-4 interior defensive lineman in the NFL. Bijan, let me explain why I don't think it's Bijan. If you guys are going to put serious draft capital into running back, I don't think it really makes sense now. You just paid Pollard. Even though it's a franchise tag, I think they got him on. It was still paying him. You let Zeke go. I don't think the route you guys are going to go is running back, specifically because an interesting point. Dallas has brought in, I think, the second most wide receivers in their top 30 visits so far. You could see a wide receiver here. I think Jordan Addison and CeeDee Lamb would be so ridiculous when it comes to getting off man-on-man coverage. Yeah. I don't think it's who they go. I really think not Myles Murphy. That you could take a linebacker here. Jack Campbell could go here. Mozzie Smith, I think, is ridiculous. I love Jordan Addison here. I don't think he will go. I think it's going to be Mozzie Smith. But Brian Brees is a good pick. It's actually who I'll probably go into taking. Brian Brees, I think, makes a lot of sense in Dallas.
Yeah.
Buffalo. Weird pick. I don't think it's for Sherlock Bijan Robinson.
Don't explain how pissed I would be if we passed on Bijan. I'm not sure about Tony Pollard for the future. I wouldn't mind Jordan Addison, though.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think Bijan Robinson is a very good running back. I just don't like taking running backs with that type of stock.
Yeah. Buffalo Bills.
Weird pick. You guys, Buffalo really could go best player available. This is like quarterback, obviously.
They could go Bijan, honestly. They would benefit from Bijan more.
You could go Kincaid. You could go Myles Murphy. You could go Jordan Addison. You can go pretty much any of these top guys. I am going to go Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, seems fair.
I think he just adds a depth to this team, or just a spark to this team that's needed.
The Bengals, Dalton Kincaid. Saints. Oh God, team's fucking.
There has been some rumblings.
No, dude, Hendon Hooker is not going in the first
I
round.
don't like Hooker, but I'm picking Hooker at
You
29. Now,
don't like
not because again, this isn't what I would do. This is the rumblings that have been heard that the Saints are in love with Hendon Hooker.
after paying Derek Carr that much money.
He's going to be backup.
No.
I won't take him here, but I've heard a lot of rumblings.
I say amongst interior defensive line, offensive line, you can legit. I love if you want to go to. Let me just fucking look at it real quick. Sorry, I don't see what Dylan has up. I guess all those guys would technically be a really massive breach.
Myles Murphy, you could go here.
They did just lose Marcus Davenport, didn't they?
But he was more of an inside guy anyway.
Yeah, true shit.
Jordan Addison doesn't really make sense. Anton Harrison doesn't make sense. Lucas Van Ness makes sense here.
I really don't see a world where Lucas Van Ness does fall out of the first round, though. I really like Lucas Van Ness.
To it. I think I'm gonna go Luke. I think I'm gonna go Lucas Van Ness here.
All right, fuck it.
I think he makes the most sense.
Go, Mr. Lucas. Oh fuck.
Philly. Enter soon to Vegas. I don't see that.
What up?
Let's see. So Philly got Brian Branch at 10, and they have another. No, they don't have another.
Now, hear me out, and I feel like you'll agree. What about linebacker? Because they did lose T.J. Edwards, and they did lose Kazir White, I believe. Wouldn't linebacker make a little bit of sense? Or they go center. Now, reason why, Kelsey, you don't know what let's.
They drafted a center last year.
Who?
They drafted. That wasn't Shrines. They drafted a center last year. I remember because Jason Kelsey came out and said that they asked him to scout a center last year that they would pick to be his replacement. So they already have a replacement for Jason Kelsey.
Okay. Linebacker is the pick I'm in love with for Philly. I believe that it's a positional need that they really need. Now they're saying wide receiver. I don't agree. Now they also could go interior offensive line, and they could go out and get Isaiah. What's his name? Is it Isaiah Somalia? Whatever his fucking replacement. Steve. The problem is, yeah, you're gonna reach on a guard, but it's gonna be what it's needed. So, to me, the toss-up is between linebacker or interior offensive line.
No first-round linebacker talent. I disagree. Okay. Jack Campbell is a good player, does not fit the scheme. I think this pick is between Drew Sanders and Trenton Simpson, and I don't think at 30 is really a reach on either. I know PFF has him as 71 and 48. I don't care. Drew Sanders is 6'4", 235. A bigger guy, hits really hard. Trenton Simpson didn't have the production you'd like to see, but he's an athletic monster, tested out of the world at the combine. So I am going to go Trenton Simpson in the back out of the first. It's a bit of a reach, but if you're Philly, you can afford to take a reach on a player you may fall in love with.
Yeah. And with the final pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs will select Jordan Addison. I know what you're thinking. Great pick, Nico. I know. No, I'm fucking with you. I don't think it's gonna be Jordan Addison. Could it? It could, but I also could see them going offensive line after losing what's his face.
I think you go edge. I think you go Myles Murphy, man.
But they picked up Carl Loftus last year.
Who's their other edge?
Carl Loftus Jr.
Who's their other edge?
Yeah, I know. Carl Loftus Jr.
They have two edges on a team, Nico.
The other guy.
There you go. I'm going Myles Murphy here.
Yeah, I agree. I said it. I said it first.
So let me explain real quick
great
why.
Pick by me.
Casey has to get after the quarterback, and I just think having Karlaftis and why am I Myles Murphy? I think would be great. So let's go through the picks real quick. Bryce Young 1, Anderson 2, Shroud 3, Levis 4, and you guys can see the rest. I'm not going to read off the whole thing. I think it's fine. I think most teams have pretty good picks here. I would be a pretty good draft. I think this is probably what will happen, very similar. But I wouldn't be shocked if AR goes a little bit higher than he went.
Yes, that's who their other edge is. Oh.
Frank Clark isn't really good. I'm
No, he
pretty
got
sure
cut.
he's
He got
off
cut.
of KC now.
He got cut.
Yeah,
He got cut. He got cut.
but
Yeah,
he's
you're right.
not very good. So I wouldn't love that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that down. Okay. Positional rankings. We're already at 50 minutes. We may try to not do every position. So let's go to top 5 quarterbacks. Let's hear your list, Nico. And then kind of give a brief example of why you feel like, if there's anything crazy, why do you feel players who...
You fucking bitch. Okay. All right. Number 1, Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson is the prime
I'm being
example.
for real. I'm being for real.
All right. Number 1, obviously, is CJ Stroud. I think he's the most accurate quarterback in this draft. I think that the wonder bullshit test is such a dumb thing to look at a player. It's so stupid. CJ Stroud is arguably and still will be better than Bryce Young. I don't give a shit. Number 1, CJ Stroud. Number 2 is where it gets tricky. Number 2, I'm gonna go Bryce. I think Bryce Young. Yes, the size does suck, but he has talent. Talent is there. You know, his little Wonderling test score was phenomenal, so we have to put him 2 because he fucking, scored well on a test. Bryce Young will be 2. 3. I want to say Anthony Richardson, but I got a feeling you're gonna look at me funny and you're gonna think I'm stupid.
Let's hear it. I want to hear honest opinions.
Okay, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna put Anthony Richardson at 3. You know what? Like I'm fuck it. Why not? Because Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
You can sit here and say 1,000 times in a row that yes, he's a raw product. He's not NFL ready. Whatever. But the dude's combine was freakishly athletic. The guy was an absolute athlete. And if put under the right system and the right coaching staff, he does have the traits to become a Josh Allen and a Cam Newton if they breeded, and that's him.
Yeah.
It's the truth. I think that is what you'll get out of Anthony Richardson. Now, if you put Anthony Richardson in a bad situation, like what he was in Florida, and he'll suck because he had legit nobodies, then he'll suck. But Anthony Richardson has the potential to be the best quarterback in the draft. No one can really disagree. He does have the potential, but he also does have the potential to be the worst. So that's why he's at 3. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and give him 3 because I think put in the right system, Anthony Richardson is a great quarterback. Number 4, Will Levis. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like Will Levis. I'm only putting him up here because I think that he's the 4th best quarterback in this draft. I think Will Levis play style is okay. I don't see really. Sometimes I see some flashes. Sometimes I don't. A good game that you can go back and watch. Me and Dylan watched it together. Was Kentucky versus Florida.
It wasn't a great game for either side, but it kind of showed some strength and weaknesses of both sides.
Yeah, it shows the strength and the weaknesses of each player of Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. But Will Levis is my 4. I think where he's going to get picked, he's going to have the same Daniel Jones apparel where he is going to be viewed as a very high quarterback because he was picked as a very high pick. And he will be underwhelming, and then he'll kind of just be mid for the rest of his career. He'll just be an underwhelming pick. He's going to be an underwhelming player. That's what I'm looking at. That's how I think about Will Levis. And then 5, Hendon Hooker. Okay. There's really
any comments?
Really no explanation. I think watching this guy at Tennessee, he was an absolute stud. I think if the ACL never happened, I think we all would agree that he would have been the top 3 quarterback in this NFL draft if the ACL injury maybe wouldn't have happened. I don't mean top 3. I mean like a top 3 quarterback in the draft. I mean he would be, Dylan. He was fucking phenomenal.
Okay.
I mean,
okay, that's enough from Nico today.
Fuck you.
Okay. Okay. So number 1 for me is CJ Stroud. Kind of for the same reasons Nico covered. I do have some concerns about Stroud. The S2 test, again, I saw Carson mention it. It's already confirmed he scored a higher percent than 18%. Significantly higher is what the S2 test guy said. So even if it's a 60-70%, I'm not trusting that. Because what matters really is how they play on the football field. Like, in all honesty. I am a bit concerned because he had really good weapons. He had a really, really good Ohio State team. That team's a good NFL team. Like, honestly. He has had Paris Johnson is going to be a first-round pick, tackle. Nicholas Pizzafrea was last year's third-round pick tackle. DeJuan Jones is going to be a probably second, third-round pick, maybe even first-round pick tackle. You've had, 5 first-round pick wide receivers? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a comp for him. I say low end is Jared Goff. I think his ceiling's really high. His floor is really high. And then I have the ceiling a little bit lower. I think it's like a Dak. I think it's high end is Dak. I think it's what I'd have him as. A little bit mobile, can move out of the pocket, has a decent arm. Probably in the 8-ish best quarterback in the NFL. Nothing crazy. At 2, I have Mr. Anthony Richardson. I love Anthony Richardson. Love Anthony Richardson. Oh my goodness. So much. I think he's going to be great. He is the most athletic quarterback we have ever seen. Ever. This is the honest truth. He is 6'4", 245 pounds, ran a 4.44 and has a 41.5-inch vertical.
That's it?
He is the most athletic quarterback we've ever seen in my life. Or not even my life. He's the most athletic quarterback ever. High end, Cam Newton, Josh Allen. We already know the comps. Low end, I think his ceiling's a little bit higher, or his floor's a little bit higher than people want. It's still low. Low end's a bust. I mean, honestly. Number 2. Number 3, Bryce Young. I know people love Bryce Young. I'm not one of them. I think he could be a very decent quarterback. My concern with Bryce Young is I'm also looking at this when I'm making my board. I'm making who do I want, right? Who do I want? If I was a team, who am I picking? Anthony Richardson is a guy you pick if you're a GM and your team and your job isn't on the line that year. If you're a team like, I don't know, like a team that has a really like for example, this is a good comp, not a great comp, but like say Buffalo, right? Now Buffalo has Josh Allen. They didn't have Josh Allen. Brandon Beane was their head GM. He's a lock GM. He's not getting fired, even if he has an awful draft. Anthony Richardson's the guy you take. If you hit, great. If you miss, you're fine. Teams are going to be afraid to take AR because if they missed, they're drafting a bust, right? Bryce Young is this maybe the most safe quarterback. I think CJ's a little bit more safe, but you can say that with the S2 test if you really want to take a ton of stock into it. Bryce Young's a little bit more safe. If I'm going who I'm going to pick, and you call me traditional with this, I am not taking a quarterback from a franchise guy who's 5'10", 190 pounds playing, and has a average to below average arm in the NFL. I'm not doing it. I know he's accurate. He creates a lot of his own pressure. I don't think anybody talks about this. He creates his own pressure. He will run into pressure. He is small. He is extremely slender. And the issue I have is I don't really care about height. It doesn't bother me. I'm worried about actual frame. For example, guys like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's short. Kyler Murray's built. Malik Willis was short. He is built. Russell Wilson is short. He is built. These are big guys. Bryce Young is not. That dude is.
Chet Holmgren.
He is. And he doesn't have a really good arm. It's honestly, I think, mediocre to below average. He honestly, and this is a comp for me, he's like a right-handed Tua. I just don't like it. I'm sorry. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all.
That's a little bit of a stretch.
4, Will Levis. I've started to get higher on Will Levis. I already talked about this a little bit more. I started to get high on Will Levis. Higher. I still think he's like a bottom. I take him.
He still fucking sucks. So we're just
I don't think
putting
he sucks.
him.
I think he could be a very good quarterback.
We're putting him at 4 because Hendon Hooker tore his ACL, and
I think he's the biggest boomer bust quarterback in this draft.
Boomer bust? No, motherfucker. He's gonna be a bust.
I have his high-end comp as Matthew Stafford. His low-end comp as Paxton Lynch.
Who the fuck is Paxton Lynch? Oh, the Broncos QB that sucked. Oh.
I don't.
Yeah, no,
he could be very good. He just probably won't be. Number 5, not Hendon Hooker.
He can be very good, but he also can't be.
Number 5 is not Hendon Hooker. No, it's Tanner McKee at Stanford. Oh. Now, no one's talking about this kid out of Stanford. Go turn on the tape. I'm sorry. I didn't really know who he was until about 3 weeks ago, and I started watching him. Seriously, I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy. Go turn on the tape, dude. He's 22. He's 6'6", 230 pounds. He has a good. He's a fine arm. He's not really. He doesn't have a huge arm. He can't really move. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Carson Strong last year, but a lot better. Not a great arm, but as well is extraordinarily accurate. He has made some throw. He made a throw against Oregon last year where split the safeties was a dime. Tanner McKee, I do think, is better than Hendon Hooker. And he's not. This isn't like a crazy thing. Like PFF has him over Hendon Hooker. PFF has him at the 32nd best prospect in draft. Like this isn't like a crazy take. People just love Hendon Hooker. Like, this is an honest thing. So yeah, Tanner McKee is my quarterback 5 over Hendon Hooker. Barely, but I do have him over. I do have him over Hendon Hooker. He just has better processing. I think he's gonna be a better NFL quarterback. Okay. I saw Carson say bro. I don't know if he's mad about Levis.
The better Carson Strong, man.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. Man. Tanner McKee.
Go watch him. I swear, I'm for real. Go watch him. Like he has some stuff. You'd be like, damn.
No, there's a lot of. I think we could say damn about any fucking quarterback because none of us are doing it.
Well, it's different because you watch Will Levis tape and you're like, damn. Damn.
you're like fuck. Oh,
you go turn on Anthony Richardson tape, you're like, damn. Like it's completely different.
Like Taylor, he's like Taylor Heineke almost. You know.
Don't you dare compare Aaron to Taylor Heineke. Okay, I'm gonna go to wide receivers.
Can we talk about how Sam Howell would have been the number 1 overall pick this year if he stayed another year at college?
So my wide receiver 1 is Zay Flowers. Wide receiver 2 is Jackson Smith and Jigba. Wide receiver 3 is going to be Quentin Johnston. Wide receiver 4 will be Jordan Addison. Wide receiver 5, I'll put Tank Dell.
Okay. I have not researched wide receivers this year because
I'll go over them more. Okay.
No. I have PFF pulled up. You don't have to do all that.
I am going to go over my top 5. Hold on. Actually, go ahead and say your top 5 just real quick, and then
I insist. All right. So my wide receivers, only reason why I really don't give a shit is because my team's not really reviewing them this year, so I don't really think we need to look at them. So number 1, my opinion, Zay Flowers. Number 2, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Number 3, Jordan Addison. Number 4, I'm gonna go Josh Downs. I'm gonna put Josh Downs. I'm gonna give him some respect on his name. I think Josh Downs is respectable.
That's fair. I don't mind that.
And then 5, and it's just because I'm not a fan, but I think he's still really good, and he'll go in the first round. It's gonna be Quentin Johnston. I'm not a fan of, I guess, what he does and how he plays. I'm just not a fan.
Y'all just scaring me. I'm fine with either Stroud or Bryce, but Stroud isn't great at escaping pressure against 5. That is true. That is true. I think with Stroud as well, you're going a lot off of that Georgia game. So that's is that Georgia game really what you want to go off of? That's a good question. That's the honest truth if you're a GM.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to wide receivers. Who's your 1, Zay? Right? I like Zay Flowers. He reminds me a lot of Antonio Brown.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And without mental issues.
So wonderful.
I even think his floor is like Kadarius Toney. I don't think he's going to be a bad player. I just don't see it. Okay, Nico.
I have hair.
My number 2 is Jackson Smith-Njigba. I don't know why people say Jonathan. Jackson Smith-Njigba. His ceiling, who would I have him as? His high is Amon-Ra St. Brown, a little bit less athletic. His ceiling is his floor is Robert Woods, but like not great Robert Woods, like fine Robert Woods. I say that because I do think he'll be there. He didn't really get to show much because Ohio State just didn't run the football. I think he'll be a pretty active blocker. He's really shifty. He can get in and out of his breaks really quick. But I just don't think his ceiling's high. And then his hamstring issues are really concerning to me. But he could be the best slot receiver in the league, not named Cooper Kupp or Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. The reason why I'm not really a fan of Quentin Johnston is just because I just man, he's just so weird. Like you and I kind of agreed on him being not so able to get off the line of scrimmage and be able to create separation and all that. I think the speed's there, his athleticism's there, but it's just I don't think he's better than Downs, honestly.
Real quick, we'll switch topics in just a second. I think we'll go to players to stay away from, and then we'll wrap it up. One thing I don't want to talk about, doesn't get enough respect. I'm actually got Carson Burnham. Josh Downs is a really good player. Josh Downs is smaller, but one thing I would note about Josh Downs, he had the highest contested catch rate of any player in this draft.
Terry McLaurin Jr.
Now, yeah, he's smaller. The dude's 5'9", 170 pounds. He had a 70% contested catch rate last year in college.
Jahan Dotson Jr.
So I think Josh Downs will be a good player. Now, final topic we'll get to. Let's talk about players I'd stay away from.
Kelly motherfucking Ringo, bitch.
No. Player to stay away from. Number one, I don't. Hendon Hooker. Don't like Hendon Hooker. I don't think he's gonna be good. This is a Hendon Hooker hate page at this point. Number two, Darnell Wright. A little bit I'd be conceited on after.
Noticeably how they're all Tennessee players, and notice how none
crazy
of them.
Crazy how that works. Guess who number three is? Jalen Hyatt.
wow! I can see why they didn't go to the national championship. College football playoffs.
I promise it's not biased. I honestly just don't like really. I know Darnell Wright could be a really good player if he gets his act right. Jalen Hyatt, I don't like. Face no.
Hendon Hooker would be good too if he got his ACL fucking fixed and then goes back out there and throws.
Oh, by the way, Hendon Hooker would not be the third best quarterback in the class if he was healthy.
Yes, he would.
How was he better than Anthony Richardson?
Dude, because back then we knew who he was going to get out of Hendon Hooker. We didn't fucking know what Anthony Richardson. We didn't even know Anthony Richardson was going to declare for the draft back when Hendon Hooker was doing good.
What would I know? I just watched him every game for the past 3 years. Yeah, Josh Allen's a really good player.
No. Be realistic with yourself. Anthony Richardson, deadass, would have not committed to the draft because what is he, like a freshman or a sophomore? He's still young, and the people would have wanted him to go another year. But what did he do? He's testing his luck and going in this year.
He wanted to stay another year. He wanted everyone saying for him to stay another year anyway. He still came out. He's only had 7 starts at quarterback.
I understand. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Now, listen. But no, don't be honest with me. If Hendon Hooker if Hendon Hooker never tore his ACL, never did.
He's still my quarterback 5.
Okay, fine. And if Anthony
I would say still. I'd have more Tanner McKee if he was healthy.
Anthony Richardson never committed, Hendon Hooker would have had it. Honest to God,
I would still have him under.
But he would have a true case to be the third best quarterback in the draft.
I would have him under Levis.
To an extent,
not to an extent, he'd be under Levis, and I'm not going to go off hypotheticals. Oh, if AR didn't tear it, I mean, you can go on that one. AR committed. I'm not going to go to if you want to say, oh, Penny didn't tear his ACL. I'd still have him as my quarterback 5. I'd have him.
Right? No, I'm not sitting here talking.
But he's also still 25.
Wasn't Burrow like 24?
Burrow is 24, but Burrow's also a significantly better college player.
Obviously, Dylan. Obviously.
So that's a weird comp. You see what I'm saying? Like that's a weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird spot to bring up. Be like, oh yeah, Burrow. Let's not act like Hendon Hooker was anything like Burrow in college.
Dude, Hendon Hooker almost took the all-time Tennessee Volunteers to the national championship.
That doesn't mean anything. Real quick, a few sleeper picks. Jonathan Mingo is a great player. Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma could be a really good player. Josh Downs, I'd put in that sleeper pick category.
A wide receiver, by the way, just putting it out there. Wide receiver, Jaden Reed.
Out of Michigan State. That dude can run some routes.
Michigan State University. He's a fucking stud. Book his life. He is an absolute stud. Don't care what you have to say. If any team picks up Jalen Reed in the draft, I will be so happy. He is such a fucking stud. Another player I really like too, and it's a bit of an offensive line, and you don't really get a lot of offensive line picks, but Jalen Duncan out of Maryland. I think Jalen Duncan's a decent.
He's been rising boards, yeah.
Yeah, he's a decent tackle. I think he's obviously, where he's at, he still has a lot more to prove.
I saw a rumor yesterday that Jalen Duncan could be a bottom first-round pick.
Yeah, no, not happening.
I'm for real. It's
another corner that I also really, really like to. I know I mentioned DJ Turner a little earlier in the video, but Eli Ricks. I love Eli Ricks too. I think Eli Ricks has a lot of potential too. He can probably be a cornerback 3 or cornerback 4, but he could really be a good guy in the depth chart. And last but not least, a linebacker position. And he's probably not a guy you're not thinking of or a guy that you're overlooking, but I'm still going to talk about him. Oh my God, it's hard to pronounce his name. DeMarvion Overshown. I think he's a fucking beast. he is an absolute tank at middle linebacker. I would love for him to be a Commander in the later round picks. Honestly, the 3 positions I'm looking at in this draft are anything offensive line, cornerback, and linebacker. And I think Overshawn is so fucking good. And I think he's such a beast. And I think if anyone should pick him up, it should be the Commanders.
Let's talk about a running back real quick.
That's so fucking boring.
Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA. Have you heard of this guy?
Let me look at his name. If I look at his name,
Zach Charbonnet, UCLA running back, 2nd to 3rd round pick right now. I really like Zach Charbonnet. So he's 6 foot, 220 pounds, and he runs similar to kind of reminds me a bit of Javonte Williams coming out of UNC a few years back.
Okay.
He's a little bit different though, so I think he's a little bit bigger. And he isn't necessarily. He's weird. He's a weird guy to evaluate. He's really big. He's not really fast, but he's more elusive than he is going to run you over. But he's still really good at breaking tackles. But he's not really like I'm going to run you over back, which kind of reminds me of Javonte a little bit a few years back because he's really just a great contact balance guy. Could catch the ball well out of the backfield. I loved Javonte Williams when he was healthy at a UNC. I think my comp for him was Nick Chubb, which I don't love that comp anymore, but it's who I comped him to. Zach Charbonnet, I really, 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 really like at a UCLA for running back in like the 2nd or 3rd rounds. I think he could be a really good Belco back. That's what he's supposed to be, is a Belco back in the NFL.
I haven't really looked at a ton of running backs. I don't think that Washington is looking, but if they were to look at all,
Jameer.
The one running back I wouldn't mind in a later round, just because I watched just a little bit of him. Chris Rodriguez Jr. I liked him a lot out of Kentucky. He's all right. 7th round undrafted guy. If they sign him, I'll take it. I like him a lot. That's really about it. I don't really give a fuck about running backs, to be honest with you. We don't really need one.
All right, guys. That's gonna wrap up the video because Nico's starting to get into his gonna slur and start saying a lot of cuss words. So that's gonna wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed a little draft episode. I don't know if we're going live on draft.
We'll be back next year when Caleb Williams is on the Commanders. And have a great day. Goodbye. And always remember that.